Hello, everybody. I'm Kristen.
And I'm Rachel.
And this is, So I'm Watching... Forgot what I was doing. So I'm Watching The Last of Us, Season 1, Episode 9, Look for the Light.
I thought it was just going to be called Okay.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
The rest of the shows this year are going to have to work really hard to snatch my #1 spot out of the jaws of The Last of Us.
This was fantastic. This is the most I have ever enjoyed of a zombie story, which I feel like the zombies were more of an afterthought than anything.
Very like the 5th or 6th concern of the production.
Which I kind of like. But again, they were so like not gross that I could have dealt with it.
Well, they're gross, but they're gross in a fresh way.
Yes.
Because the like exploded like Pan's Labyrinth by way of popcorn faces are like really unsettling.
Yeah.
Okay, so this episode was so good. There's so many things about this episode that are so good. We'll start with the like kind of cold open with Ashley Johnson as Ellie's mom, Anna. Very good. It did kind of have a Quiet Place vibe to it where like she wasn't like needing to keep quiet while she was in labor, but she was like all alone in a house.
She was being chased by a clicker.
Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, you're giving birth to a child, like your bones are moving and your organs are moving. Yeah. So it'd be hard to be quiet, but also it'd be like, girl, you're making so much noise. Stop.
In total fairness, your bones start moving in like your second trimester.
Yeah, but did you see the TikTok of like...
Why didn't we talk about the fact that there's a shitload of bread? There's so much bread.
I thought you were there when we talked about it.
Huh?
I thought you were there when we talked about it.
A wealth of bread. More
bread.
You're fine.
We ordered Italian for dinner and it came with a ton of bread.
It did. But no, there was a TikTok where it was like talking about how far your cervix has to move to get to 10 centimeters. Yeah. And it's like this fucking big.
It's a lot.
I can't.
It's a real no for me.
What a bad day to be giving birth. Yeah. My God.
So I assume that like Marlene or someone was supposed to already be there.
Well,
but
she said they got held delayed, up at the QZ.
So she essentially is getting attacked by this clicker. It breaks through the door. She really did everything she could to like
for sure
trap herself. So she's getting attacked. She's got the knife and she does end up killing it, but not before it bites her on the leg. And in the midst of the attack and all of that, she has squirted out the baby.
Well, I mean, she's literally fighting. So you have to think she's bearing down. And I mean, it's just like, and again, talk about an afterthought of that baby.
That baby was an afterthought. So yeah, but she's already been bitten. I just loved everything about it because once Marlene does get there, she like looks her straight in the eyes and is like, I cut the cord before I got bit. Like it was before. And it's like, Marlene knows it wasn't.
Okay. I just got really excited because now the so much of Ellie's life has been bookended now by a lie about her. So like the first lie of her life was the lie of when she actually was bitten, and then this moment now with Joel.
But that has to be how she got like the antibodies or whatever. I know it's not like a virus, but regardless.
Yeah.
Also, I because they don't know how it works is really interesting because Anna was like, she's hungry, but I didn't want to nurse her. And I'm like, that actually might have only made her stronger.
Yeah,
if
for
we're
real.
being honest. All together, just fantastic. And then Marlene is very reluctant to kill her. She like goes out of the room. And Anna's just in there, like, crying because she wants Marlene to kill her because she doesn't want to turn into a clicker. But then she just does go back in.
Yeah,
she does it. And again, we focused on Ellie, on tiny baby Ellie, when the violence was occurring. This show's fantastic.
It's so good.
I like can't.
So good.
I can't even. And I also like. I don't know like what the whole deal is, but I caught a vibe with Marlene and Anna. That I was like, I feel like that's maybe why Marlene was reluctant. Because we know she's kind of a hard ass.
I mean, I would have a hard time killing you.
Well, of course.
But so, I mean, like...
We're a little in love with each other, Rachel. I don't know what to tell you.
But I just... Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
I feel like if you were begging me to kill you and the alternative was you were going to turn into a raving monster, I feel like I'd sack up and do it.
Well, Marlene sacked up and did it. She took a minute.
Yeah,
I mean, I'd be a little offended if you're like, sure,
okay, babe.
Yeah, I'd be like, okay, could you feel a little conflicted about it, please?
I'll feel conflicted when you can't look at me anymore.
You'd be like, don't look at me, don't look at me. And I'll just be like,
oh boy. Okay. So then basically we cut to Joel and Ellie walking, trying to still get to Salt Lake City. And Joel is being a little desperado. He is like trying so hard to get her out of this like hole that she's in. And it's like he's finally embraced this like father relationship that he has with her. And it's like at the precise moment she like cannot engage with that because of the trauma she's just experienced.
Or do you think that she knows that this might be the end for her?
I don't know.
Because I was kind of thinking, at first I thought that she very much was still kind of like working through the stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But what if there is a possibility where she's like, this might be the end of me? And it's like, I have to create some sort of separation to make it easier for me and for him. So if I'm not engaging, then it might be easier for him.
I would be more into that if we hadn't had the episode with Henry and Sam where she was fully convinced it was just her blood.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because like I still am very shifty on like, that's the thing is once they get to the hospital and like they knock out Joel and then he wakes up and they're like, we have to take her brain. It's the only way. And I was like, the only way? Are you sure it's the only way? I don't think it's the only way.
Yeah, because in my mind, I'm like, if it's in here,
it's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Well, I feel like we can try like first we should try blood. And then we can try bone marrow, and then we can try like stem cells. I feel like from 0 to brain extraction, I think is like really insane.
Especially because it was, if you think of it, like an in vitro type of passing on, since it was through the umbilical cord.
Yeah.
So like, sure, it traveled through and kind of like made it home back here, but it should be flowing everywhere at that point.
Yeah.
So stem cells would be a really good place to start.
Right?
For sure.
And we'd have no pesky Republicans to stop us from doing experiments. So obviously Joel is not cool with that. And Marlene is like, take him, give him his pack, take him to the road, let him leave. And I was like, Marlene. And then she has the actual audacity to hand him Ellie's knife.
Yeah.
As like a memento. And I was like,
parting gift?
That's going to be embedded in the brains of every man in this hospital in like 2.5 seconds. And indeed, it is.
And I mean, I would have to assume that they probably didn't give Ellie like really any time to kind of like take in what was happening because...
No, Marlene specifically said we didn't tell her. She's not afraid. She doesn't know. She thinks it's just routine.
That's right.
She doesn't know anything, so she's not scared.
So this is where I have the issue again, where I just need people to start telling people what's happening.
Yeah.
Because then let her make the decision on her own.
Yeah.
And then bring Joel into it, and then they can come to it together.
Sure.
So she can have her hero moment, and she can say goodbye and make or decide not to.
Yeah.
You're just informed decisions and informed consent is sexy. So
yeah, and that's the thing too is like I don't know like what Ellie would have decided, like if she would have decided to go through with it if it was the only way. But then like there could have been like a nice goodbye moment with Joel or whatever. But I don't know. It just is. It's real shifty. Like behavior from the Fireflies. And the other thing too is like what I was getting at is I was like, it's also not like there's a time crunch.
Right.
Any kind of like population pyramid we've gotten into has long since passed. Mm-hmm. So it's like saving the people that are left should certainly be a priority. But like the tipping point is past and it's been 20 years. Yeah. We are not like this is not an immediate action type. It was already going on 6 years when Ellie was born.
Right. Well, and my whole thing with like these, the good guy groups versus like the major like corrupt government, you're not any better.
No.
You just because you're like fighting against the like scarier power, the bigger power, doesn't make you better because you're still doing the fucked up shit that Fedra's doing.
Yeah, well, and that's one of the things I do like the best about this is that like everybody's motivations are shaky.
Yeah.
Like everybody wants to believe that they have the best interests of the majority at heart, but at the same time, it's like, so what's like worst case scenario, you extract Ellie's brain and this doesn't work.
Right.
Now you've killed a little girl. And if it does work, you still have to live with having killed a little girl. And sure, she'll be taught about, people will hear about her, they'll know her name and stuff, but it's also like, she's a little girl.
Well, so like Henrietta Lacks.
Yeah.
There's the whole moral argument.
Like, what about the blood? Just blood.
Yeah. But so it's just, they had to fight for her name to be out there and for people to understand like what this woman had to go through and technically is still going through if you think about it in the bigger picture. And so it's like, just let them know, give everyone the options that they can have and then go from there, because I know that the noble thing is sacrifice the one to save the many.
Of course, yes.
But let the one make the decision.
Especially when it's like, when they're able to. And that goes back to my thing about like this not being like, there's no sense of urgency to this because we are already so far past the population tipping point that it's not like we are on the verge of there not being enough people to repopulate the earth.
Right.
We're well past that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just a little, but that's what makes it so interesting. So then he basically kills everybody. He kills the doctor. So we're going to also have to find another doctor if we're trying to do this again.
I mean, there's got to be a handful out there.
Maybe. And then they are charging an SUV in the basement of the hospital or the parking garage of the hospital. And he gets down there with Ellie and Marlene is waiting. And obviously he's got a gun hidden under Ellie's legs to like shoot her. And man, does he not hesitate.
I won't hesitate, bitch. Nope.
He does let her talk for a minute, but then he shoots her right in the stomach, and then she's like, wait, like you have to understand, and he just shoots her right in the head. And they are like well on the road when Ellie wakes up and she like asks a little bit about it and he lies.
Hell yeah.
Raiders came. They couldn't do anything. They reached an impasse. There will be no cure, but there are lots of other immune people. So I am obsessed with the way he is trying to remove any potential guilt from her. That's fantastic. The lying is bad, but interesting. And I think it's especially because of how much he's changed in such a short amount of time, and because of the trauma of last week, how much more emotionally attached he is to Ellie. It's actually like the shift in both of their acting in this episode. Because like I said at the beginning, he is like desperate.
Yeah.
There is like a desperation.
Well, when you're around someone that is clearly upset and they like aren't telling you why, and so you're literally just being like, I want to feel the silence because I hate this.
Are you okay?
Yeah. I don't want to hear some shitty puns so bad right now.
And then the way that she like can't re-access that childishness that she had before until she sees the giraffes.
Yeah.
The giraffes were so cute. Ugh.
They were very adorable.
And he also told her, because he's had this scar, I only vaguely remember him talking about it early on, but it turns out the day after Sarah died, he tried to shoot himself in the head, but he flinched. And I do love stuff like that where it just sort of feels like fate.
Yeah.
Where it's like, he was like, I still don't know why I flinched. And it's like, well, now you do. And the like, time heals all wounds. And like, he said it wasn't time when he's just like looking straight at her. And it's That's a heap load of responsibility on her tiny little shoulders, too, though.
I also noticed that how much he looked at her in this episode, especially with the giraffe scene. Like, he was looking at her rather than the giraffe.
And her joy.
Yeah, and we spent so much of their journey with him looking down or looking forward. And I was trying to discern if there was a meaning where she was walking farther behind him more often rather than beside him. But it could have been more of like, that's just like the protective walking,
could be,
the pattern. Yeah. But it did seem that she was further back and all he wanted to do was look at her.
Yeah.
So, because I mean, it's like really for the first time he's seeing her, you know, with the blinders off.
Yeah.
And
just so good.
Yeah. And then also seeing her through the lens of like a daughter, like a father-daughter experience. And for the first time, really.
Yeah. And like Joel is such a girl dad, but you can also tell that he like actually has no idea how to like what to say or do to a girl child. Like,
yeah. And he was like, I think Sarah would have really liked you. Yeah. And it just like, they don't have to like each other. Like,
no, but they would have.
Fine.
Yeah, they would have. They would have.
I don't know.
I think they would have.
I feel like Sarah would be like, I don't know what to do with you.
Well, Sarah would have been 34 by now.
Yeah.
Which is like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically they make it back to Jackson, Wyoming, and they're at the top of the hill. She tells him about Riley because he told her about trying to shoot himself, and she just is like, you have to swear to me that what you told me about the fireflies is real for me to like go down there and just live a life, which does imply that she sort of knows that he was lying. And he says, I swear, and she says okay, and that's how it ended. And my husband texted me, he already had it typed out. And he texted me just to prove you knew it, that the last word of the episode was going to be okay. And it was. And it was so good. And I cannot wait for season 2.
Yeah, I'm really excited.
Obsessed.
I mean, bated breath.
Yeah. It can't come fast enough.
No, I was actually kind of like, when it ended. I was like, that's all we get?
Are you already filming?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah.
Also, Neil Druckmann, if you are not married, you can call me, please.
I'm also having a fun time with Troy Baker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it big time?
All right. Well, that is it for us for this season. If you liked us covering this, let us know. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a subscribe. We have a Patreon, patreon.com/soimwatching. And we will 100% absolutely be back for season 2.
Yeah, I wonder if I'll be salt and peppered into that coverage as well.
Yeah, probably.
This has been fun.
Yeah.
Because this is not my normal stuff that I talk about, but this was very pleasant. I had a really good time.
So yeah, let us know what you think, and just check out the rest of our coverage as it happens.
Also, we just went live for the first time this past weekend, and we had a really good time. So be sure to watch our socials and kind of like keep an eye on the YouTube, because we will definitely be doing that again. That was a blast. So we loved hanging out with you guys, and we would love to hang out with more of you.
Bye.
Bye.